every day we try to unlock or open new doors in our lives. Be it metal doors, wooden doors, or even mental doors from other people all around us. Now, the tricky thing is we have to do this whether we like it or not. So I figured, why not? Let's get better at this together. So in the following, I will show you in 3 main parts what I do before I go to a client to open their door and what happens when I open their door and I get into their store. In case you haven't figured it out, until now, I'm going to talk about sales. So I've been in sales since 5th grade. I know what you're thinking, I didn't sell drugs. Actually I kind of did sell drugs because it was candies for kids, but I was booming, so you could say I have some experience. Now, my sales last year, I had a 45 closing percent rate. Now, I don't know if you know what that means, but that means that if I get into your store, there's a 45% chance that you will buy something from me. So, this being said, let's talk about the 3 main elements that I study before I go to a customer. First of all, the key to their door. Because you need to have a key to know what door to open. So, my key, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I know it doesn't look like a key, but trust me, it works. Does anyone know what this is? It's the cake. The cake, okay. Half a cake, but yeah. Exactly. In English, it's gonna be honey sheets. So, this is my key. With my key, I sell it to the customer takes the package, opens it. I'm not gonna open it because I'm gonna sell this after this. So, he opens the package, he makes some cream, he spreads it on the first sheet because we have 4 sheets here. He spreads it on the first sheet, then puts the second one, spreads it again, puts the third one, spreads it again, bam, you have a dessert ready and going in 20 minutes. So this is really great. Now, I'm curious, what do you guys think that my product offers and why are people buying it? Quick 1 or 2 answers. Why do you think people buy? What is its value?
It provides happiness.
Happiness, okay, yes.
Saves time.
Sorry?
Saves time.
Saves time, exactly. And I saw one more hand there. Alex?
A lot of them buy it because they like sweets.
Yes, and a lot of them buy it because they like sweets. Yeah, that's true. But we're not going to talk about Romanian's sugar addiction today. We're going to talk about the value of this. So, as you said, happiness, but I like to say it, a taste of childhood. The second thing is time, because if you buy this product, you buy time. You don't have to do the sheets yourself. And if anyone tried lengthening dough in their house, you know how difficult that is. So this is the second thing that my product offers. And the third thing is it has 7 ingredients and is over almost every other product on the market regarding how healthy it is. Now, I'm not saying this is healthy because it's basically sugar refined, but it's healthier than what the market has to offer. So, we have seen the values of my product. Now, who would be interested in the values of my product? What do you guys think? Who needs time? Quick, I just want one answer. Yes?
Everybody?
Everybody needs time. Yeah, that's right, but who's running out of time?
My grandma.
Your grandma, I'm sorry, I'm saying that exactly, but yes, your grandma is running out of time, my grandma is running out of time, and everyone's grandma is running out of time. So, you can buy time with my product, and usually people who need time are the elderly. Usually people who need comfort and not start digging at that dough are the elderly, because their joints, they don't work that well anymore. So, as you may have noticed, my main target as a buyer is the elderly people. Now, the bigger category is age 30 and plus, but usually the elderly, they come in with the money and they just throw money at me. So we figured my key has these three values, and we found people that can be in the rooms that my key opens. So let's think of where we can find elderly people. Well, usually in Romania we find elderly people in the countryside. Every store in the countryside, doesn't matter if the countryside is rich or poor, I visit every store in the countryside. Now, the second type of stores that I sell to are corner stores, or as we say in Romania, alimentar. Now, corner stores, I don't know if your grandmas have ever told you, oh, come on, boy, I'm not going to Lidl, look at all that stress and it's so far away, I'm going to Lenuța here at the bottom of our apartment building. And honestly, I get it, because I think it gets tiring when you're 80 to go shopping in a Lidl or Kaufland or something huge, because one time my grandma got lost there, so I kind of get it. Now I found that my key is good for corner stores, and let's see someone. Come on. Breaks my heart. What's the second one?
Countryside.
The countryside. Okay, thank you. I wasn't quite explicit there. Okay, so where do we find the doors? So we had our first value system. We found the values that my key has. And now where do we find them? Well, corner stores at every corner, basically. And the countryside in the countryside. Like almost every village in Romania has at least one store. Now, the tricky part comes. Before you go out into the field, or at least that's how I do it, I like to study everything about the possible shops that I'm going to go into, and I need to know by heart every possible question that I'm going to be asked about my product. Like, for example, how much it weighs, what's the price, if it comes into a box, how many pieces of my item can fit into the box, and so on. Now, this is an imperative requirement, and I think you can't succeed in sales if you don't know by heart your products. Now, the third step, we actually go into the said store. Usually, I enter into the store and I take a stroll around the store to see the aisle where my product would be placed. Now, if I like the store, I'm gonna walk around a bit more and then I go to the cashier. If I don't like the store, I just leave. I suggest you don't work with people or businesses that you don't like. Now, after I've enjoyed their store, I go to the cashier and I'm like, hi, my name is Răzvan. I was wondering, can I strike a deal with you? Is there any chance you could help me get my product into your store? And usually, the cashier, who usually is an old lady, especially on the countryside stores, is like, no, honey, but I can help you. Look, my boss is there and I can take you to him. And usually when the lady smiles, or the person that I'm talking to smiles and introduce me to their boss with a big smile on their head, that's done. That sale is over. Like when it starts with a big smile and the lady says to its boss, her boss, she says, this fine gentleman wants to talk about honey sheets with you. I've sold them. It's like we already fallen in love. So, the cases where this doesn't happen, the boss comes, and there can also be one possibility here. The boss doesn't like you. That's pretty hard to change, and I usually leave. If I see he doesn't like me, we strike a few lines, and if he doesn't like me, I like to leave because I'm not wasting time. But if he likes me, we talk about my product. I usually ask him, okay, do you know anything about this product? If I don't see that he has a product like this in his store. And usually, most of the Romanians know what honey sheets mean, so we talk from there. I suggest when you present your product in front of someone, you should be the one asking questions. Like you shouldn't be, you know those salesmen, like you go to Polus or somewhere and they sell phones or stuff like that, but they never ask you anything. You stay there for 10 minutes and they keep talking. Now I suggest you do the opposite of this and you don't talk, only you ask questions. After talking a bit, like here I'm talking about small chat. After the small chat, it comes the tricky part, the objections part. Now here, there are a lot of possible objections, so I came up with a few and I want to talk to you together. Let's see how we can solve that, or at least how I solve those with my specific product. So let's say that he doesn't want to pay that much for my product, so it could be money. Let's say that his wife doesn't let him buy it, because that can happen. What else? What do you think? He already has honey sheets, yes. And let's say, I don't know, something else? He doesn't trust my product. So we have 4. Which one of these objections do you guys want to handle today? It's really quick, so let's take one.
He already has honey sheets.
He already has honey sheets. Okay, this is like the smoothest one-line thing you can say. But before we get into this, whenever the first objection shows, you should always, not always ask, okay, so, but if it weren't for the money, what do you think? Would it be something else, or would you straight buy it? And usually what comes next after this question is the real objection, not the money thing or the first thing that comes into their mind. And you have to deal with this. So let's suppose that now we have got the, I am sorry, Raresh, he has more honey sheets, right? That was the, okay, yeah. So he tells me, it's okay, I have like 4 other products. Usually my starting argument is, okay sir, but do you also have like 6 kinds of bread? Does that hurt the other bread if you put another loaf on the shelf? And you can see on their face that, no, this guy's right. I'm like, no, okay, what is it? But what I like to do, because now this is an advantage because I come from my own shop, I usually strike them a deal looking like this. Like, okay, if money is a problem, if there's too many sheets, what do you say? You're not gonna pay me for the ones I'm giving you, and I come back in 30 days, if they outperformed the other ones, you pay me for the ones you sold, and we start a collaboration. And usually they say yes, because there's no involvement, there's no attachment to them. They just put those on the shelf and they start selling. Now, there are a lot of ways to handle objections, and unfortunately, my time is almost up, but I am really open for questions and for a discussion. So, to sum up, remember, you need to learn by heart everything that your product does and is. You need to know your key, which is the value that your product has and brings to the world. You need to know how to find the doors that you want to open. And remember, the doors that you want to open, you actually want the people that are behind the door. Like, if you like opening doors for fun, that's on you, that's okay. But you need to think of who you want to be in that room, when you sell something. And the third one, you get in there and you start talking. So, thank you. Do we have any questions? Alex, yes, please.
A lot of times salesmen are rejected, and the question is, what kept you moving forward? Because I guess you were rejected also a lot of times.
Yes, I was rejected a lot of times. What kept me going forward, honestly, the money. As a salesman, you get a commission, and if you do your job well, you're gonna see that money coming. And the second thing that kept me going, the thrill of it. Because you never know what the other person might say, and I get the rush in my body just like I'm holding a speech. And I really think that we should all stress our bodies a little more, because that's how they were built, to be stressed. Thank you, Alex, very much. Yes, Nikita?
Did you get a strange objection where people say, oh, we never had something like this, a random person coming in and selling something to us?
Can you rephrase your question, please? Because I'm not sure I understood.
So, when you mentioned about sales, especially in the countryside, I had no idea that there are people coming there with their specific products. I thought they're just selling whatever products they have at the moment. That's all.
Okay. Honestly, I've never encountered someone saying they haven't seen a salesman.
Okay.
I think it's less likely, but the way I would do it, because you have the chance for a clean slate, you write what's there under salesman. I would try to be as friendly and pave the way, so it's much easier for the next salesman that comes, because there are a lot of people that encounter resistance just by existing and by being a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, so we have like this. Okay, yes, please.
How does a countryside store track their inventory? And how much control do you have over how many pieces of honey sheets you sell there? Because I'm imagining a countryside store is like, I don't know, a store with not so much technology inside, and they don't have such, I don't know, inventory management system. It's like a notebook and like, do you understand my question?
Yes.
At the end of the day, how do you know precisely how many honey sheets you sold to a countryside store?
Well,
How do you keep track of this? And
I have a physical notebook. I like computers, but I love the real deal, writing it down. So usually, like, let's say we end the deal, he buys 10 packets,
yeah.
and I write down that he has 10 pieces of honey sheets, and when I come back next time, if he has only 6, like, he sold 4. That's the simplest thing, because as you've said, they don't have technology usually, and it's just by notebook. So they actually like me more because they see me writing down on my notebook.
Okay.
Yes?
Why do you think elderly people buy the most from you? Because you mentioned the main problem is time. However, time is also a problem for people who work 9-to-5 jobs and especially have children.
Right.
Did you test on that target group? Like, for example, a mommy's community or something, and you try to sell the sheet and it didn't work, and if not, then why?
Wait, thank you for the question. Yes, we've tested. Like, we have this business. My parents had this business for 20-something years, and we keep statistics. And the elderly are the people who buy the most. We just count them. I know it's a bit barbaric, but we count them, and we saw how many of them are elderly and how many are other kinds of people. Of course, we didn't count every person in every year, but after you count like 2,000, 3,000 people, it usually, there's a pattern there, and it works because our sales kind of spiked when we went for a more elder market. Thank you. Yes?
Okay. Have you ever turned a hard no into a sweet yes? And if so, how did you make it happen?
Yes, but usually it takes time. Like, when you get the no, they are just like, so if you're in a countryside, there are bigger stores at countryside, I love those the most. And when you're there, the boss is like, okay, no, and he leaves. And I usually go there every week to talk to him, until I get some time from him. And for example, when I got my first hard no, it took me like maybe 3 or 4 months of going there weekly and just talking to him, like, hi, how are you doing? I'm not here to sell you stuff, I'm here to see how are you doing. And I built trust between us. And there was a point when you feel that there's enough trust that you can say, okay, so now what do you say? Do you want 5 packets of this? So I really suggest just pushing it through, and at some point they will crack. If you want to do this, because not all the time this is worth it. Like, that was a big store and I wanted my product to be there, but usually I don't think it's worth it to waste that much time on a customer. So that was it. Thank you very much. If you want to talk in the break, I am more than happy to be here and answer your questions or give you my contact details. Thank you. Have a nice evening.